So at the moment, I'm building the Saasly boilerplate, which would be the minimal SaaS application as a starting point for whatever we decide to build. And at the moment, I just finished up the authorization, so all stuff authorization. And if you go to any of those tests, you will see uh, SDK usage, which was generated by the Saasly. And I'm communicating with the backend like so. So yeah, that's the general overview. Usually I'm trying to go with a single thing per test. So for example, in this case, I have, I'll update my profile, and update my profile allows to update email. So that's exactly what I'm doing in this place, and everything else is as minimal as possible just to focus on the uh, SDK method, which is needed to be tested in this particular test. So get basics is the essential parts for the test. Whatever is needed for many endpoints, I'm adding to the get basics. So to begin with, the basic registration, I'm generating the email with some passwords, and I'm registering the user. I'm authorizing the SDK with the access token after the registration, and then I'm giving back this object. So as more endpoints will come, I will definitely add workspace creation and other basic things inside of this get basics helper for the tests. So at the moment, I'm just started work on workspace create get list update. We are skipping delete for now because the workspace delete action will be quite heavy one, and I want to plan ahead a bit more before jumping on it. So workspace create, this what Saasly generated, and let's go through it. So first thing first, workspace model, I already built that one. So the workspace at the moment will be very minimal, workspace ID, title, and team members. And for the team members, we have user ID, first, last name, and the role inside the team. The team may be joined by support as support. Support is basically having all accesses just like an admin. And that's just basic schema. Let's review. So workspace title members, members are these, members have client. That's not correct. We have user ID in this one. Then we have first name, last name, and that's not correct here. And these are first name should be required, last name should not be required. For the role, we have admin member support. That is required. And that's about it. The provide ID, that's incorrect. We have the workspace ID as shortkey for the MongoDB. For the environment, that's fine. For the TTL, if that's test, I'm deleting with the TTL all the data from the database for the test environment. So that's why TTL is there. Now for the indexes, we have website ID, which is fine because we will usually do that. We can also add title because I know for sure that the admin panel will search more workspaces by title. So let's add it there. So we have the workspace model ready. Then going back to the workspace create, this is generated code by Saasly. So creating this one, enabling this one, get access that has to go to this one. This one is request, this one instead of rec. Get access details, that's a general helper, which will check if the session is fine. By the request, inside the request, it will look for the access token, environment version, all these goodies. All of that should be pretty done on the UI and by me also, so that's nothing to worry about too much. But just in general, it is checking for the session. If that's all good, then it is checking for what route you're trying to call. And if that's prefixed with base, which is the case for all the routes inside of this application, you can see like so. I call the routes has base. So it is checking if workspace ID is defined inside a payload, which usually is the case, except if it is authorization paths. because authorization happens in general scope, not inside workspace. But for any kind of action within some workspace, we have workspace ID inside the body. So it is grabbing that and checking if this session has access to this workspace. And there's just some logic there, finding the workspace, finding the team member, etc. If all good, it is just the most important part is, do you have access, the error, and there are more available things. For the accesses of the admin, we have user and relation is admin or support. If that's true, then admin access is granted. Okay, going back to the workspace create, that's the access details. So access details has all of that info. Always check if error. If yes, then define the error. You can see that the pipeline of the single endpoint is we define the data and error on top, then we are checking for the access. And if error is null, then we are trying to communicate with database usually, or do any kind of other thing. If that stuff crashes for whatever reason, we are returning the error if something went wrong, always including this. I have shortcut dr, and it will generate random stuff to make this happen. For the errors, we are always including the ID of the error. For that thing, I have live template CE tab, and now I have this thing. Also for the console logs, same thing. And also I have CLL, which is allowing me to stringify also with null space too. Also I have another shortcut, which is R, stands for random. So R tab will generate a random number. So these are extremely useful things for all of these things. These references are needed, so when you have some kind of logs, for example this one, hey, where this is coming from, you just search for that ID and you know exactly where that stuff is coming from. So it's extremely helpful while debugging, and while all issues starts with debugging, that's essential. All endpoints response as data, which is an object of some stuff, and error, which is always in this shape. So the code is some general code string like this one, always in capital with underscores. If UI would need translations or whatever else, they would be using this. This is the default translation, the human-friendly text for that code. So this can be edited. This should not be edited most of the time, because this may be used by UI somewhere for translations or something else, and this may cause issues if it would be changed. So this should be quite static, generic, simple English, like, and this one is whatever for humans, could be some emoji, whatever. And the details with the reference. So again, the tab done. In any case, all of this is generated by Saasly as a template. Now we need to do what? We need to create a workspace. So first of all, we need workspace model. So workspace equals await get workspace model. Workspace, come on. Workspace equals await workspace. No, new workspace. Come here. Title and save. I like to console log that stuff. That's why I'm using CLL, like CL console log and large or whatever. While I'm clicking L already, I just made it CLL. So in this case, I have what? I have this stuff. So workspace create basic API. I want to get the workspace create to my console, running the test, checking what's the result. Workspace validation, workspace ID, path ID. Workspace ID is required, of course. So I have failing test, that's great. Now going back to the endpoint and making the implementations, which I already started doing. So I need workspace ID. Let workspace ID equals get. I have a helper, which is get ID inside the helpers. And it says workspace. I'm trying to get the workspace ID. Inside of it, have these defined what kind of IDs I can create, and I'm passing that type to the config ID type. If I go there, I can see that workspaces will have the prefix of WS dash. Same thing for all the other things. So when you have some kind of ID, you can always tell what kind of object you're talking about by the prefix. And when you are generating the ID, I'm using this getShort ID npm package, which I built myself. And what it will provide a prefix of prefix option prefix. So it will just generate a random ID. So workspace ID, I can print that out just to show you how it looks. Let's refresh the test and see how it looks. So for the workspace ID, you can see it is generating a long ID, like so. And the prefix is the timestamp when workspace was created. So here's the timestamp, and then you have some random stuff. But by the prefix, you can always tell that this ID is for the workspace. So that's the very handy tool, and this one also. And while the prefix of workspace is, this one is static and this one is dynamic, but this one is timestamp in milliseconds. So the index by workspace ID will be ordered by when the workspace was created automatically because of this. And that's how you usually fetch data, by ordering how it was created. So you can just add index on the ID itself, and that's it. All right, going forward. So the workspace validation path, workspace ID is required. Yeah, sure, because I haven't passed it yet here. Do that and refresh. Okay, it is. That's that thing what we were looking for. So for the result, what do we have inside the result? Inside the result, we have workspace ID and the title. Going back, and if workspace, and it should be always the case. If not, then something went wrong, like this. Again, SWW, something went wrong, and I'm returning that error, or else I'm building up the workspace ID and title. Formatting is done by Prettier, fully default, nothing else. Title may be undefined. That's interesting. Is that true? That's optional. That's interesting. Let's go switch to this place. There you go. So workspace create title. Title is required. So sync code. Let's make a snapshot right there. The 3 files synced. Go back to this place. Optional is gone. Now title is always a string. That's correct. And your SDK will validate to make sure that it is defined. So if I would go to workspace create to check where it was used, you can see that the endpoint definition is defining the Zod schema, which is saying that it is not optional anymore. So it will not even hit this part if title will not be set. So we know for sure that the title is some kind of string. So we are creating the workspace. We can refresh once again to see if everything is still fine. And now we can remove this log because that's definitely not needed. And now it is saying that something went wrong. Let's see. Oh, so yes, here it goes. This one was missing, and workspace created. This seems like it is coming from the inside of test, which is the case. So workspace created, we are giving back the title and the workspace ID. So for the title, workspace created data title to be MySpace. And that's it. Here you go. You have the workspace create endpoint fully done. Clean up a bit, and here you go. Commit. Which one was it? Workspace create. Workspace create. Commit and push to the Git. That's it.